You've neglected your mind for so long, dived into every short term dopamine thing that stimulated you enough to give you a feeling, a meaning, distracted you from reality. And you've done that for so long to the point where you're like a fly to a flame. And essentially, you just can't stop. You wonder why you're so inconsistent. You wonder why nothing makes sense. You've tried what seems to be everything, but nothing can ever add up. You can never really get lean for the first time, maybe for the second, the third time, fifth time trying. Watch the end of this video and you know exactly what that is. So for most people, it's the pain of consistently trying and knowing that whatever they do, they can never see a result. And it's not the fact that you don't try, it's the fact that your intention is skewed, right? If we want to sharpen, let's say, if we want to reach a goal, we have to sharpen the mind, right? It's like a katana. If you've never cut, let's say, a watermelon before, why do you think it's going to be a swift slice? No, you've gotten the most bluntest sword on the planet. So hacking at a watermelon is going to take a god awful amount of times. But every single time you do that, it's feedback. And what most people don't understand, and the reason why most people struggle to get lean, is simply just due to their identity. You're just not the person right now in this current moment that can actually go out and say, I'm going to get lean in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, however long the time period you've told yourself. You're just not the person who can do that. You have limiting beliefs you need to break. You have potential programming from the current environment you've created, because obviously it's peers, it's family, it's a dynamic that you've created. So of course, when you go against that dynamic, you finally want to move away from the collective consciousness to thought process and thought loops of everyone else, which is why everyone else looks average. There's friction there, so much friction. But you have to understand that getting lean is going to put everything on its head, and it's going to show you that iron sharpens iron. You know, the mentality of actually being a small percentage of the entire population, God knows, even in your current environment, it might be less than 1%, is rare. So you have to think, how does people who have abs, who are below 15% body fat, single digit perhaps shredded, how do they operate on a daily basis? But in your mind, because you think you need to starve yourself. See, this is the problem. The fitness industry, the food industry work together to milk as much money they can from the people who have really tried to actually get lean and struggled. And they've painted so many different narratives. It's like information overload in your mind. And I completely get it. I used to be there as well. And how I got out of that was trial and error. But that's why you've got this video to watch, because obviously I'm going to just let you know about everything I went through. And when it comes down to these industries, you have to understand they don't have your best interests at heart whatsoever. So what you need to do is you need to figure out what in your diet are you eating consistently that's ultra processed, and you need to swap that for the next best whole foods option. But people think when you do this, you need to starve yourself. No, you just need to season that bitch up. Like, what are we doing? You can obviously add some seasoning to it. You can make it taste a lot better. You can add a little bit more ingredients to it. There's so many different varieties. Like, people have cereal in the morning. I have Greek style yogurt, right, which has berries, strawberries, sugar-free maple syrup, and that sort of thing, right? That compared to the cereal is probably three to 400 less calories, and it's got more protein, and it's actually going to give me really good benefits from the antibiotics, improving my gut health. Whereas cereal is going to spike my insulin, going to make me extremely hungry, so my ghrelin hormone goes through the roof, and I just want to eat everything in sight. That's why when you have cereal, it's good for just one thing, the iron, but everything else is too much in excess of. So what you'll tend to see is you have cereal and then you just yam everything else. You could have even more cereal, which makes you even more hungry and more spike of insulin, and it just goes on. So you need to eliminate what this is in your typical day-to-day. You need to find it, eliminate it, and replace it with the next best option. But before that, you need to have a serious conversation with yourself. See, when people hear the word mindset, for some reason you think, oh, he's just going to go on a massive talk about something I don't even understand. It's not that. It's, you need to figure out, why is it that you actually want to get in shape? Because you've compounded all of these, you've basically compounded a surplus for so long. You have to really dig deep and find an actual reason to why you actually want to get in shape. So people do a really bad job of this because most people aren't really self-aware, and that's a problem. You just need to ask why, and just whenever you get an answer to why, you ask why again, and you will end up going so deep to the point where you're like, fuck, this is actually painful. And for me, I draw it all back to when I had an addiction to food. I got bullied because of it. Got made fun of. I could barely fit clothes in primary school and things like that. To the point where I just really just didn't like to eat. You know, I had an eating disorder. And I had to look back at that time and really ask myself, like, this would completely change your life. You will immediately have every opportunity available to you. And it's nothing like I've ever seen. I went to Manchester on the weekend, guys, and like, I'm not someone that goes out anymore. I haven't really went out clubbing for like years. And honestly, being lean completely changed my mind. I was walking out with my top off, girls coming up to me, asking me questions. I ended up bringing a girl back, and let's just say we were doing Bible studies. And then when I woke up, I got another message from another woman that night asking me where I was. She wanted to come over. So that could have been 2 Bible studies in the same night if I was awake. So I'm not saying this to be arrogant or anything like that. I'm just saying this to show you that from someone who used to get bullied because they were obese and had way too much body fat, someone who now goes in any social dynamic and literally dominates any social interaction, it's night and day, guys. Like, generally, you will be so shocked, especially if you're someone that's never been lean. Oh my God, mate. You're going to be looking at both sides like, why the hell did I not do that sooner? I'm an actual idiot. But it's okay, because I don't see things like that. I see it as, if everything I've ever done has led me up to this point, that's good, because it means that it's going to equip me to actually do what needs to be done. That's how you should see it as well. If you guys like this video, like, comment, maybe tell me any stories you've got from nights out or anything like that. But yeah, appreciate you guys. Peace.